Hello, it's your girl Tosin Moji, and I am here to talk about a topic that I am calling Blessings from Moab, and I'm taking it from the first chapter of the book of Ruth, one of my favorite books of the Bible. And so I was reading Ruth on this snow day today, and I saw something just in the first few verses that really touched me, and something that I saw that I've never seen before. So I figured that I would share it, and God willing, it would bless somebody else. So let me just set the scene for you. We have Naomi, who has just journeyed to Moab with well, not just, but she has journeyed to Moab with her husband, who goes by the name of Elimelech, and their two sons. Now, their two sons marry Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth, and 10 years later, her sons die and her husband dies. So Ruth has journeyed to Moab with her husband and her two sons, and then they all die, and she's only left with her two daughter-in-laws. Now, here she is in this new land that is not her own, but she moved to this land because at one point in her life it symbolized security, safety, it symbolized a better future, it symbolized, getting away from the famine that was in their town of Judah. No one wants to raise their child in a famine, so her and her husband, they figured, this is going to be a good future for us. She was leaving home, but she had a sense that Moab had something to offer for her. She had a sense that Moab was going to give her a better future. But now she is left with no husband, no children, and no grandchildren. And she has two daughter-in-laws who at any moment can up and leave and marry into another family because they really have no tie to her. Some of us have left our own Judah and journeyed to Moab. And Moab didn't treat us the way we envisioned it to. You left everything for something that you thought would be better. And now it seems that it left you worse off than before. Maybe Judah is your career, and you had been serving faithfully at a company for many, many years, but you just felt like, I need a change. And your Moab came in the form of a new job offer that was great. It had, great salary and great location and great hours. And, you decided to take that leap, and that job was as what you thought was a godsend, and you were getting promotion after promotion, and everything was going great until a few months down the line where they lay you off and you start to wonder, why did I ever leave my Judah? Or maybe just like Naomi and her family, your Judah is you moving from your country to a new country, which is now your Moab. And you travel there because you see opportunity and you see experience and you see so much greatness that resides in this new land. And you're like, I want to tap into that. I want to get a hold of that. I want to grab onto that. And you're seeing this new country in a new light. And you're seeing this new country as a place that can give you future and that can give you the future that you have always dreamed of. And in the end, it makes you question who you are and question your decision because you're left with no job and no money, and your immigration situation is getting crazier by the day, and you have nothing to show for. And you're starting to see your move to Moab as the worst decision of your life. But I want you to hold on because it gets better. Verse 7, it says, with her two daughter-in-laws, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Moab took from Naomi her husband and her two sons, but it gave her two daughter-in-laws. So here you see Naomi journeying back to her homeland of Judah with memories of Moab in the form of her daughter-in-laws. She's leaving Moab because she doesn't want those memories, but yet she is bringing those memories along with her. And it's funny because I think she realizes that, because in verse 8 she says, wait, don't come with me. Go back to your mother's home. I know you have been so kind to me and you have been so great to me, but I have nothing to give you. I have nothing to offer you. You are not mine. Go to your mother's home. And she's pushing away the remnants of her life in Moab. Yes, Moab may have taken something from you, but it has also given you something. Maybe it gave you more skills, a small business, a new church family, a new relationship, or deeper understanding of life. But you can't see the good that came out of Moab because all you see is everything that it took away from you. And you're no longer focused on the good. All you see is the pain and not the joy. And now you stand at a junction where you're willing to let go of your Orpah and you're willing to let go of your Ruth because all you hear is nothing good came from Moab. But knowing how the story ends, letting go of Ruth would have been the worst decision of Naomi's life. It would have been the worst mistake of her life. Today, there are some things from that land or from that situation or from that relationship that you call Moab. And it sucked everything out of you and you're trying so desperately to let it go. But I need you to be careful. Because the very thing that you are trying to let go of is that very thing that just might propel you into your destiny. You see, Naomi would eventually need Ruth. She didn't know at that very moment when she was pushing Ruth away that Ruth was the very person that was connected to her destiny. In the same way, we don't know that that person or that thing or that pain or that situation that we are trying to rid ourselves from is going to connect us to the destiny and the purpose that God has for our life. And while we're over here pushing Ruth away and saying, no, go back to your mother's home. It's okay, I don't need you. Ruth is pushing and saying, no, I will not leave you. Where you go, I will go. Your home will be my home. There are some memories and situations that we are trying to let go of, but they are not letting go of us. Maybe they come in the form of a dream or come in the form of memories or come in the form of a situation or a person or a baby, or maybe it's a relationship that you thought you closed the door to, or maybe it's a skill that you had to pick up along the way and you don't really want to let people know that you have this skill because it just seems so beneath you. You know, I was watching a movie yesterday called The African Doctor. It's a funny movie on Netflix. If you have time, go and watch it. It is in French, so you have to read the subtitles if you don't understand French. But so in this movie, there was a doctor from an African country. I want to say Congo, one of those French-speaking countries. Whatever, that's not the important part. But there's an African doctor who moved his family to a small village to become the only doctor in that village. Now, this village is a white town, and they apparently had never seen a black person. So the likelihood of them going to a black doctor to get treatment is very slim. And so now we see this doctor who has just moved his family from their homeland, Judah, to this place of Moab, and he has no patience. No one is coming to his office. So what does he have to do? He still needs to provide for his family. So here is this doctor now taking a job as a farmer to make ends meet. This town, this village where he now was, this Moab where he now was, he thought was going to produce greatness. And instead, he is there as a farmer. And he can't even tell his children, and he can't even tell his wife, and he can't even tell his family back home because he's embarrassed. But he did not know that maybe years down the line, these skills that he was learning as a farmer were going to come in handy, or the people that he was going to connect with as a farmer were going to help propel his clinic and propel his journey as a doctor in this town that had neglected him. There's something in your Moab that you're going to need on your journey to Judah. So here it is. Naomi unsuccessfully releases Ruth, and Ruth is there just tagging along, following Naomi to Judah. And I can imagine what's going on in Naomi's mind because, she left home and she was supposed to be a success. When you leave home, you're supposed to come back better than you were. When you leave home to go to college, the expectation is that you come back home with a degree and you come back home with a job offer or 2 job offers. When you leave home, when you leave your father's house to go to your husband's house, the expectation is that you come back home and you visit, and there's so many joyous stories of how God is blessing your marriage with finances, with children, with a great home, with great career. When you quit your job to start your own business, the expectation is that your business blooms and you end up better than where you started. But that wasn't Naomi's case. She felt like she was going home empty-handed. She had nothing to offer. All she felt was shame. And she tells them when she sees them in verse 20, "Don't call me Naomi, call me Mara. For the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me home empty." The Lord has brought you back empty. Here you are standing beside Ruth, and you say the Lord has brought you back empty. Now imagine if you were Ruth. That would have been a slap to your face. It's like, hello, I know that I may not be the future that you have expected for yourself, but you cannot say that God has brought you back empty. You don't know what it is I have to offer. Here I am, Ruth. I have something to offer for you. The Lord has not brought you back empty. How are you belittling me in front of everybody? You went away for school and you have to come back home because you can't pay your tuition, or maybe you failed school. And the expectation was that the next time you came home, you had that degree. But you come home with nothing, and all you say is, "Call me Mara. I'm empty." Not realizing that the connection that you made at school, even if it was just for one semester, is going to connect you with someone who has a business idea that is going to propel you to your journey and to your purpose and to your destiny. You're not empty. Or you got married and it's been 5 years and there's still no child, and that situation is causing a strain in your marriage, and it's affecting the way that you guys relate to each other, and it's affecting the families, and the doctors have nothing good to say about your situation. And when you go home, all you say is, "Call me Mara. I'm empty." Not realizing that the struggle that you're going through while you're trying to conceive is actually conceiving a ministry inside of you that is going to be a blessing to those families around you that are going through the same situation. Or your job. You quit your job and you inspired to start a business, and in the beginning things were going well and everybody's loving your business and you're getting customers and you're getting clients, but shortly after the business starts to dwindle and you have no money, and because you need to make ends meet, you find yourself closing down your business and finding a 9 to 5 because, hey, I have bills to pay and I have a family to take care of, and you feel so ashamed because you saw yourself as an entrepreneur, and now you're back into this circle of 9 to 5 and you say, "Call me Mara. I'm empty." Not knowing that the skills that you learned as a business owner, whether it was management or finance or customer service, is going to propel you into your destiny, because those are the skills that you need to get that very job that is waiting for you at a company that you never thought you can even get an interview for, let alone a job position. But you're saying, "Call me Mara. I'm empty." And Ruth is staring at you saying, "Look, I'm here. Here I am. Yes, I may remind you of Moab, and I may remind you of a time in your life that is bitter. But if you only knew how much I was tied to your destiny, you wouldn't tell these people that you came back empty. You would tell them that you were overflowing with purpose. Here I am. Here I am. I'm Ruth. You're not empty. There's something from your Moab that you will need on your journey back to Judah." Verse 22, it says, "They arrived in Bethlehem in the late spring at the beginning of the barley harvest." So here you are, you're going back home, you're traveling back home, and you have to face your family, and you have to face your friends, and you have to face the people that expected great things from you, and even the enemies that said up she will never amount to nothing. Nope, he's never going to be nothing. And you're wondering, what am I going to say? How am I going to explain this shame? How am I going to explain the fact that I didn't graduate from college? How am I going to explain the fact that my business is dying? How am I going to explain the fact that I've been married for 5+ years and I still have no child? How am I going to explain the fact that I just needed to file for bankruptcy because I have no money? What am I going to do? What am I going to say? But your journey back home is right on time because it's harvesting time. Your journey has led you to the beginning of harvest time, and your Ruth, whoever or whatever your Ruth may be, is getting ready to shine because your Ruth is instrumental to your time of harvest. Your Ruth is ready to shine, and it's time to see everything that your Ruth is made out of. It wasn't just lip service. She has something to offer you. It has something to offer you. So it has something to offer you, and you're going to see how this skill and how this relationship is going to connect you to your future, and how this skill is going to advance you, and how this pain is going to propel you towards your destiny, so you can sit back and you can watch it work for you, to the point where people are watching Ruth in the field and they're saying, who is she? Who is that? Where did she come from? Because I need that. I want that. And now it's all beginning to make sense, because you can now proudly point to Moab and say, yep, that's Ruth, and she came out of my journey in Moab. Yes, I may not have understood it right then and there, but now I know, now I see. So now what you begin to do is you begin to invest a little bit more in your Ruth, and you begin to tell her the field to go to, and you begin to tell her the people to connect with, and you begin to tell her the threshold that she needs to lay at, because now you see that what you once saw as empty is going to produce a blessing, and is going to bring about a greater end and a greater expectation that you didn't even know you had in you. There's something in Ruth. There's something in that Ruth that makes you seem like, wow, maybe Moab wasn't all bad after all. There's something here. Maybe I didn't come back empty-handed. There's something in your Moab that you will need on your journey back to Judah. So let's jump really quickly to chapter 4, verse 17. It says, the neighbor woman said, now at last, Naomi has a son again. Not Ruth. Ruth is the one that birthed him. But not Ruth. Naomi has the son. What you thought you lost in Moab, Moab is getting ready to return it to you. But you need to put your Ruth in a position to get the harvest. Let people know about that skill set that you have, that skill set that you learned during your time in your Moab. Even if you think it doesn't mean anything, even if you think it has nothing to do with your career, let people know, because you never know what is going to come out of it. Let people know about the scars that happen during your failed marriage or during your failed business. Let people know. Keep in contact with the connects that you have from school or from that job or from that situation. Because those things that you brought back with you from Moab are getting ready to produce a harvest for you that is going to propel you to your destiny. Now I want you to take some time and think, what is my Ruth? Or maybe who is my Ruth? You brought back something from your time there, at school, at your job, in that country, in that relationship, that is going to help you get to your next step in life, that is going to ultimately propel you to your destiny and the purpose that God has for you. But you need to sit back and ask God, what is it? For a moment, just forget about the pain, forget about the hurt, forget about the suffering, the hurt, the pain, the shame that you went through in Moab, and find that gem, find that good thing, find that Ruth that followed you from Moab. because it's time to put Ruth to work. Take it to the field. Show it what to do and watch it work together for your good. There's a blessing that is coming out of your Moab. And I pray that today you will find that, you will tap into it, and you will receive it in the mighty name of Jesus.